Watching the LA wildfires, I keep thinking about this one line from The Uninhabitable Earth, Life After Warming by David Wallace Wells. And he's actually talking about a California wildfire, the Camp Fire, which was the deadliest wildfire in California history, and how afterwards the governor, Jerry Brown, described things as a new normal. But David Wallace Wells clarifies that there's no such thing as a new normal with climate change. He says this is the end of normal, never normal again. We have already exited the state of environmental conditions that allowed the human animal to evolve in the first place. The climate system that raised us and raised everything we know as human culture and civilization is now, like a parent, dead. So there was this band of temperatures that all human civilization, all our ancestors, all like Homo erectus, all our ape primate ancestors evolved within this band of temperatures. And we're now outside of that. And every single day that we're burning fossil fuels, we're getting further and further away from that band. And even if we stopped burning everything tomorrow, if we could somehow flip a switch and stop burning all fossil fuels, the planet would continue heating up for a time before even reaching equilibrium, hopefully, because we've kicked off positive feedback cycles. I mean, even if we stop burning all our fossil fuels tomorrow, the planet is going to keep getting warmer and things are going to keep getting harder. It's going to get harder and harder and harder for humans to survive. And if we could flip another switch and change the entire focus of human civilization from increasing shareholder value to trying to build towards a sustainable world, if all of humanity's ingenuity and labor, if we turned all of that towards healing our earth, removing carbon from the atmosphere, and trying to get back into that band, if we were able to do all that, it would still take hundreds or maybe even thousands of years to get back to where we were like in the 90s, like in my childhood. That's sobering. That's hard to confront. But that is the scope of the problem that we're facing. And if we don't face it, if we can't look at it and confront it and wrap our minds around it, we're never gonna fix it. The alternative to fixing it looks like the Pacific Palisades, but everywhere. Wallace Wells invites us to confront the terrifying possibility that when it comes to the climate, we have only provoked it, engineering first in ignorance and then in denial a climate system that will now go to war with us for many centuries, perhaps until it destroys us. From the metaphor of a climate as a parent that took care of us, Wallace Wells shifts to the metaphor of the climate as a war machine, and every day we arm it more. There's still so much world left to save. There's still so much possibility for a different future, for a changing course. And Wallace Wells makes a compelling argument that climate fatalism is just as much a way of sticking your head in the sand as climate denialism. If you're already giving up before you've even really done any fighting for the climate, it's equally helpful and wise and grounded in reality as people who just deny the problem even exists. We need to be grown-ups about this. The climate, our mother, is dead, and we need to grieve that. And like a parent who loses their own parent, we need to continue being responsible grown-ups even through our grief and taking care of our own children. So if you're ready to be a grown-up and you really want to learn more about climate change and get a big picture scope at what we're really facing, I do think this book is a good place to start. It is a starting point. I heard Peter Kalmus the other day, who's a climate scientist activist, talking honestly about how difficult it is even for climate science experts to wrap their heads around all the many, many zillions of ways that climate change is going to fuck everything. But like I said, this book is a good place to start. And And I can't end a video these days without reminding y'all that you can now pre-order my book, Genocide Bad, in which I actually make a lot of connections between the climate crisis and the situation in Gaza. Genocide Bad is a collection of essays on Palestine, Jewish history, and collective liberation, and it's coming out with Interlink Press, the only Palestinian-owned publisher in the US, in March. You can pre-order it now. There are lots of links in my bio for how to do that, including a link to indie bookstores that will ship it to you anywhere in the world. And if you're in the US, you can pre-order a signed special edition hardcover, and for that book, 10% of all profits will go to the Middle East Children's Alliance.